My name is Daniel Rock, and I work for Southern Regional Education Board. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you information about your upcoming Wetzel County School Review. This is a process that's in partnership with Wetzel County Schools and SREB. By the end of this video, I'll be telling you what the school review is and what you can do as a leader to prepare. First, a little bit about SREB. We're a nonprofit, nonpartisan organization. It's headquartered in Atlanta. We work with states across the country on educational issues from early childhood all the way through people getting their doctoral degrees. For the last 30 years, through what used to be High Schools That Work and is now called Making Schools Work, we've done school improvement that focuses on literacy, math, project-based learning, leadership, counseling for careers, instruction, and really everything that makes a school great. The focus for our partnership with Wetzel County is helping schools with some very specific improvement efforts. And we believe that improvement efforts must be linked to a broader vision, whether that's the county vision, the state vision, or the school vision. That teachers need to own their efforts. We have a saying that no one takes a used car, a rental car, to a car wash because they don't own it, right? So teachers need to own the work that they're doing. They should be invested and maybe making executive decisions about what it is that they're changing and how they're changing it. And then we believe in ongoing support. So we don't do one and done workshops. We will be working with your school throughout the year with coaching visits, whether that's virtual coaching or in person. So the process involves always starting with a review of where the school is. So sometimes they call it a curriculum instruction review. Sometimes, what we're doing with Wetzel is simply just a school review. We're not doing the entire process that we might do with other schools. But the idea is that we're going to present the school some data about curriculum, about instruction, about systems of support, and about culture of learning. And we're going to engage the faculty in owning that data and making decisions about it and how they can make some changes in response to it. And then we'll have a cycle of improvement where teachers and leaders test ideas and look at data that from those short-term tests and make decisions about it and provide you support in doing that. As I said earlier, coaching, whether that's in person or virtual. Our goal by the end is number 5, to really build the capacity for the school to own certain processes for making improvements as new unforeseen challenges come along. So the external team is going to provide a review of what we're doing well, where there are some gaps between where we want to go and where we are, and maybe some steps for improvement. And to do that, we're going to focus on 4 areas. Now, often you see the middle one, career pathways, is not going to be a major focus for this review. We may request that be part of a next step, but for this initial focus, because the effort from the district vision is instructional leadership and community parent engagement, we're going to focus on quality instruction, aligned curriculum, systems of support, and leadership for continuous improvement. And I just want to take a brief second to look at these and so we understand what it is that we'll be talking about. So the first question that we're going to try to answer is, how does the school ensure each student is engaged in all classrooms via quality instruction aligned to grade level or above standards? So first of all, is the instruction aligned to standards, right? Is it at the appropriate depth of knowledge? We're going to be looking a lot at the depth of knowledge that students are using as they engage in content, as well as the engagement strategies and protocols that the teacher uses. What are the students doing as they engage in learning? How are they questioning students so that they increase the involvement and the level of thinking of students, as well as how they use literacy and math across the school, not just in certain classes. We're also going to look at how the school guarantees that all students have access to a core curriculum aligned to state standards. Are there obstacles that prevent students from having access to standards? And what are some steps the school might take to pull down those walls? In fact, what does the school do to increase access to a variety of learning opportunities, even beyond the school? Whether it's with guest speakers, guest virtual field trips, or maybe even someday in the near future, field trips again. But the key question here is, what are students learning? Is it appropriate? And is the school making sure that all students have access to the appropriate curriculum? How is the school supporting students who might need either acceleration, or they just might need some extra time or extra help or extra opportunities to learn the content? What is the school doing to monitor and identify and support students as they, maybe fall behind, maybe miss school, maybe just don't learn as fast as everybody else? And what is this school doing to ensure that students are engaging in appropriate social emotional learning, and grappling with all the many issues that they have to grapple with as a young person in today's world, and helping them take the right courses that they need to take so that they graduate on time and ready for college or career? The last thing we'll look at is the leadership for a continuous improvement culture. So how does the school create systems and processes so that there's a culture of learning for all adults? We think about professional learning communities, professional development, instructional coaching. How are the teachers getting better at getting better? How are they learning about what's available and being updated on teaching methods and using data and student information to make sure that they're targeting the right skills necessary for success? So those are some of the questions we're going to try to answer during our review. And to do that, we're going to need to look at some artifacts, a combination of hard copy artifacts, I should say hard copy, but digital copy artifacts, interviews, surveys, and classroom observations. So we're going to interview a group of people. One is going to be obviously you, the leader of the school, as well as teachers. We'd like a cross-section of teachers, a variety of content areas, the counselor, and students. We'd like to interview 8th grade, 9th grade, and 12th grade students. If you're in elementary school, it's okay. We don't need to necessarily interview the little guys. We'd like lesson plans. In West Virginia, there's a lot of variety of lesson plans that teachers can create. It's not necessarily mandated by the school, but whatever it is they're doing to plan instruction, we'd like to see that. And then how do they assess the learning? An end of unit test for a section of learning. Not necessarily a quick check, but a cumulative summative assessment. And then major assignments. What are the students doing in class to learn the content? What sort of assignments is the teacher giving? And what we'd like is for the teachers to provide these 3 different artifacts from one unit so that we can sort of see what the kids are, how the kids are learning, and how they're assessed, and then what is the teacher's plan for that. It doesn't have to be the entire unit, just for one assessment, one assignment, and a sample of lesson plans. And then we'd also like artifacts of collaboration among teachers. So how are the teachers collaborating? Whether it's PLCs, meetings, virtual meetings, anything like that. And how are you as a school engaging with parents? Whether it's Facebook posts, emails to parents, I should say like school emails, newsletters, minutes, so anything like that from that shows what it looks like to engage parents at your school. We also have a set of surveys. The surveys are for teachers, students for middle and high school. They'll go to 12th graders and 8th graders only, and parents. And I'll talk about that in a second, how that works. And then classroom observations. So on the date that you're going to schedule with your SREB contact, you'll set a date for that observation, and then he or she will come with maybe a couple other people and do classroom observations. So a little bit about the interviews and focus groups. So we'd love to talk to the principal and the counselor before the visit, if we can schedule that. If not, we can do it during the visit. It'll give us more time to observe classrooms if we can do it beforehand. And then during the visit, we'd like to speak with students. For middle school, we'd like to speak to 8th graders. And for high school, we'd like to speak to 9th graders and 12th graders. And it should be just about 8 to 10 students and maybe 4 to 5 teachers, depending on the size of your school, maybe 5 to 6 if it's a bigger school. Obviously, coverage, and it can just be during one random planning period. If they last about 30 to 45 minutes each. And it's a group of students and a group of teachers at the same time. So the surveys will be to the parents, students, 8th and 12th grade, and teachers. You will receive an email from Joe Tadlock explaining how to set them up. Basically there's a link that they click on, and they create sort of a username, like we'll have a number that will be given to them, and they type in that number and they take the survey. It's quite simple. We've had very little trouble across the country doing this survey with students and teachers and parents. So we think it should be very simple. You'll get that email with instructions on how to do it. Again, that should be done before the visit to the school. So we will do classroom observations. They'll be about 10 to 15 minutes. It's just a snapshot. And what we're looking at is the instruction aligned to standards? How's the classroom set up? How's it organized? How are the students engaging in the learning? What are they doing? Are they taking notes? Are they creating projects? Are they viewing and collaborating? What type of learning is happening during that lesson? And what types of questions? Both the type of question and then how teachers are asking them to get more students involved in thinking about the content. And then we like to have the lesson plan for that lesson in the room. So you saw the folder for lesson plans, but we also would like it to be available in the room. If it's the same lesson that you submitted to the folder, then that's fine. The key is that the person doing the observation can see the full lesson plan. They shouldn't create anything that they wouldn't create normally. If they don't do lesson plans, we'd like to see maybe just a few sentences about what it is that they're doing. And if they do a lesson plan, just submit whatever it is that they have. We'll use an online tool, which will allow you to see very quickly the results of the observation. We'll see all the teachers at your school that day. So what do you as the leader need to do to prepare? Well, the first thing is to make sure we know who your point person is. If you have assistant principals or counselors, it may be best to have them sort of be what we call the site coordinator. It could be yourself if you have a very small staff. And one is just ensure that the team that comes to visit has a map, a master schedule, bell schedule, so that they can basically find the teachers and know when they're teaching. They know, their preps and everything. Basically, the team will come in, they'll say, okay, you do English, you do math, you do social studies, and they need to be able to find those teachers relatively quickly. Then the artifacts that I just went over, and that will be listed in a resource I'm going to share with you, will be uploaded to Google Drive. So if you're not familiar with Google Drive, I'm going to provide you with a link, a video that will give you just a very quick steps to uploading things into Google Drive. Then you'll need to coordinate the surveys, which for the students simply means scheduling a time for them to all take it. So all the 12th graders take it and all the 8th graders take it, maybe through their English class, if that's possible, or through their morning advisement class. And schedule the principal and counselor interview with your SREB contact, whoever you've been working with for this visit. They'll be contacting you about setting that up. It may be easier just to do it when they're there, and that's okay too. And then finally, just ensure that the teachers are prepared for the observation. Obviously, it's best if they're not doing a period-long test that day and things like that, but also that they have the folder with the lesson plan. If it's going to be what's posted in the Google Drive, it should be for that day. The teacher knows what's happening that day. The best practice for us has been every teacher has a green folder, and in that folder is the lesson plan, so that we walk into the room and it's like, look for the green folder. And that's it. And it's readily available. It helps with us providing the best feedback that we can. So probably the most consuming of these is just collecting some of these artifacts. And we understand that you're very busy and that this may not be the number one thing that you need to get done, but it will help us provide a really good insight into what are some of the real strengths for you to build on and some areas to focus. So again, there'll be a Google Drive that will have these, and I'll just pull that up real fast so you can see what it looks like. You'll get a link, and that link will take you to this, Wetzel-SREB, and you should be able to find your school. So once you find your school, you'll see these folders, and you'll simply upload them to these folders. And as I said, there's another video in the email that this came with and on the PowerPoint being sent to you that will have instructions on how to do that. So you'll have upload the artifacts of collaboration, artifacts of parent involvement, assessment, assignments, and lesson plans from the same unit. If you click on this link, you'll have a video tutorial on how to do that. And you click on this link, it'll take you to those folders. Finally, in the email, there should also be this, which is simply what I told you now in a one-page checklist for you to look at. Basically summarizes everything I said in this information session in the checklist form. Once again, you have a video to explain how to use Google Drive, and you have the link itself that you're going to be using. It's a lot of information. Feel free to reach out to your SREB contact if you have any questions. And we look forward to seeing you all in the coming weeks.